Week 12 walking, 4th to the 10th of July 2024. An election, a flight and more heat than the Scottish summer. Distance walked 52.9 miles, duration walked 17 hours, 34 minutes and 8 seconds. Week 12 brought changes. I'd been intentional about my walking and so made a decision before the start of the challenge never to walk with headphones, listening to podcasts and news or similar, because I wanted to be present in the walking and not focused on stuff. I know this may be slightly hardcore for many, yet I do recommend you make space for this type of naked walking. Whether you choose to undertake other types of naked walking, I'll leave with you, noting of course it is illegal. Just saying. However, on day 1 of week 12, I chose to disregard this commitment, demonstrating that when we say never, we might not be telling the truth and that life sometimes gets in the way of achieving something. The reason I decided to walk with earpods and listen to the radio was that the day before was the UK's general election, and I knew that starting my walk before 4 a.m, I'd be able to get the full breakdown of the results as they came in. Also, week 12 would be dominated by our first big holiday of my walking, and so on day 2, we would be heading to Italy for 3 weeks. Maybe it would be slightly warmer in Italy than it had been in the Scottish Islands. Anyway, back to day 1. And knowing that the rest of the week would be uncertain, I chose to get out early, 3:54 a.m. I didn't want the first week of our holidays to be dominated by walking, so I undertook my longest walk so far, completing almost half my weekly target, 25.8 miles, in one walk on day 1. I walked the Dreggy Gorton loop clockwise and headed over the hill before dropping down to Lochendorp. Walking it lengthways, I then walked back to a famous local site, the Jesus Saves Stone, on the A939 north of Grandtown, before walking along the road and joining the Darver Way back towards Grandtown. Deviating left through Castle Grant, I headed to the Cromdale Bridge before returning to Grandtown along the river. I reflected that the best laid plans don't always work, as the earpod batteries gave up after about 4.5 hours, so I did get almost 4 hours of naked walking in, as well as learning of the landslide victory for the Labour Party. Day 2's walking was back at an airport, although this one was planned unlike the walk around Berlin's baggage reclaim area, and saw me doing laps of the departure area of Glasgow Airport. I bagged 2.7 miles on these repetitive loops and observed some crazy loud dude chatting to himself and swearing away quite happily with his earpods on at the far gate. It was quite funny to watch and listen to each time I passed him. The note from my diary reads, "Earpods, helping crazies talk to themselves without fear of consequences since their invention." The holiday would see us undertaking a bit of a slow road trip from the north to the south of Italy, and started next to Lake Maggiore, northwest of Milan. And day 3's walking was a pavement based into the local town called Arona. It was warm and sunny and I bagged 5.8 miles. And as I walked, I saw a memorial to a local who was killed by the Nazis on the 26th of April 1945. On the way back, I did a quick recce of the local train station, as we would be taking a train to Milan the next day. I noted in my diary, quite rightly, that I would spend many hours back and forth to Arona on this route over the coming weeks. As a family, we walked a lot during day 4, although I only captured 4 short walks that took us to and from the train station and in and out of Milan. All of the walking in between is down to 3 miles. We visited the Duomo in Milan, which was absolutely amazing, yet taking the tour of the roof in 30 degrees Celsius was maybe a bit of a stretch on the second day of the holiday, but we survived and refreshed ourselves with seriously expensive ice creams that were beautifully shaped like a rose, whilst looking in the shops in the gallery and next to the plaza, which included a Louis Vuitton pink flamingo. After a day with the family on day 5, I got out for a walk just after 4 p.m. into and around Arona's old port and waterfront. I noted that I needed to be like I was in Cyprus and cover up, accept the heat and just get on with it. And so it was that I looked like a proper British tourist, wearing long sleeves, long trousers, a wide brimmed hat and a buff around my neck. all because it was sunny, clear, and 32 degrees Celsius, and I was walking for almost 3 hours and covered 9 miles. However, on reflection, I wonder whether a proper British tourist wears shorts, t-shirts, flip-flops, and has bright red sunburned skin. More family travel and excursions led to the second shortest recorded walk of the challenge on day 6, and after a drive to Lake Como, a boat trip to Bellagio. Yes, it is a town, not just a hotel in Las Vegas. Lots of walking around these places. We arrived back where we were staying, and I did 2 laps of the campsite lanes to get 0.6 of a mile recorded. More free miles were held from Bellagio. Whilst not linked to walking, the day ended with Seb and I sat at a bar watching England play the Netherlands on the big screen at the bar. There was one other couple who was supporting England, and we sat next to each other. Everyone else was supporting Netherlands, and what a second goal it was for a 2-1 win. And I've never known a place so quiet as the final whistle blew. The first week in Italy finished with a short walk to and from shopping on the way to Arona. Once again, this was a small triumph for making this challenge just part of my life. 2.8 miles today takes me to just under 53 miles for the week. End of week reflections. This was a proper take things in your stride week. I planned well and did just under half of my required walking on day 1, allowing me the opportunity to settle in and relax on the early parts of our family holiday. It was also a great reminder that if anyone tells you that they never do something or always do something, then they're probably lying to you. Yes, I promote not wearing headphones or listening to music, etc. around a walk, but on the odd occasion, okay, maybe once, I did. And that's okay. I survived. Thank you.